Welcome back, guys. It's been a while. Alright, so I'm going to do something a little different for this video. It's going to be, because I've had quite a few questions about if we could do Greg's systems with TradingView. So I'm going to take a little time here and try to piece together his systems using TradingView. The only issue that I run into is that you can't combine these bottom indicators here with in TradingView that I know of, unless you could write out your own script or something like that. But so, for example, with his quant system, he's got 3 different indicators all on top of each other, whereas here, they just stack. I can't add these 2 lower indicators together so that you can kind of have them overlap each other. So that's one issue that you have with TradingView that I've run into. The other one is, as far as his quant system goes, I had some requests to put together the quant. You can do Renko bars in TradingView. Renko is right here, but you got to have the upgraded version, so you're going to have to pay some money for that. That's okay for you guys that can't get thinkorswim if you're out of the US or whatever. But the next thing is you can't do charts by tick. So with thinkorswim, he uses the quant system with certain tick sizes. It works really well with the Renko bars. You can only do time ranges, so it's only based on minutes and seconds and hours, that kind of thing. So it's not going to be the same. So you can piece together a quant system. It's just not going to be near as good as the one you can do in thinkorswim, just because of that reason. You can't do the tick chart. But I am going to put together the swing system here, just a different version of it. You guys can mess with these systems. Like Greg only puts together a really nice system. He makes it as easy and simple as possible. I've got my own ways, so I'm just going to kind of show you my way. You guys can take it or leave it. But I do use some of the principles that he had built together. Like what I like that he does here is I love how he uses the Helkanashi bars. Okay, we'll just start with the candlesticks essentially. These Helkanashi, I love how he uses those, hollow them out. And so with thinkorswim or with TradingView, you can come up here to this little gearbox and come in here for the symbol, and you can see how you can fill in the body or make it hollow. I love how it's hollow. It just looks really good. And I don't like the wicks either. The Helkanashi wicks are really weird. They throw you off. So I like to get rid of those as well. And then using white for down, for some reason, psychologically, it's just less intimidating to see the white pullback versus a red one, right? So like when you see the red pullback, you're just like, oh boy, here we go. But so I like how we use white there, because it's just less intimidating. It just looks like something you should buy more than getting nervous. So helps with that. I like TradingView as well, because you can put in these high-low prices. So for the chart, so now we can see kind of like what the high is for the chart and the low. And then you can also put the average close line, which I think is interesting. So this is the average close. So another thing I like, so the next thing is, so on his swing system, let's just go through some of the basics here. He does a Bollinger Band. He also has Keltner channels in there. I decided to keep the Keltners out of there. I do like the Bollinger Band, but I don't like having the upper and lower in there. And the main reason is he drops it down as far as a standard deviation. Usually you use like a 2, something like that. So you can kind of get an idea of overbought and oversold, but that's not, I don't really care about that. So he uses a 0.1 standard deviation and then a 1 offset. I do like the 1 offset, but you don't even really need to do that. But I do like using the middle line, the basis. So the basis is really nice. Telling you, this right here. So this is just Bitcoin here. This right here is just telling me it's in the lower half of the Bollinger Band. I don't need to see the rest of it. I just know that right now it's in sort of a bearish pattern. And we'll go through some of the ways I interpret this chart. But so there's, and I love using Darvas box. You really just need to throw Darvas box in there and just, you can mess with the length all you want, but Looks like 3 would be okay. I might just leave it at 3. I don't know. Just kind of, you mess with it, and once you kind of get a feel for what you like, it's all that really matters. Let's see, ticks per row. So what I did here was just use the volume profile. I like having volume profile. You can't see it here, but let's see. There you go. So on ETH, just looking at ETH, you can see the volume profile. What I like about volume profile is it's going to tell you at what price level people are spending most of the time buying and selling, and then who's doing what, so you can kind of see a balance of buyers and sellers. And then also you get this point of control line, which I really like, using that as like a pivot point. So if you know anything about order flow trading, these order flow traders, they like to have sort of an order flow pivot point or a point of control. So usually, generally, if you're above the point of control, you're bullish for the most part. You're going to just want to buy dips, and so you want to set up your trading system, whatever it is, whether this is you're going to use Greg's or a version of Greg's or your own, which is basically just like a 20 moving average. I mean, it's really, you could be that easy, and I've traded really well with just basically like a 10 and a 20. It's not that hard, but I put this together today because I thought it was really interesting as I was trying to figure out how to do Greg's swing system on here. But anyways, the volume, I like using volume profile. And so what I do is I go in here as the VPVR. It's under indicators, and it's under volume profile, and it's the visible range version. So you can just click that, and then you come in here, you can edit it. I like to change the row layout. Instead of numbered rows, I like it to be ticks per row. It just looks better. And then I mess with this kind of stuff. And then here's the point of control. Obviously, we want that to be a little bit more visible. That way I know if it ever comes down here, this is going to be some serious support. If it breaks this support, now you're talking like bear market territory for short term. So right now it's still bullish. It's very bullish. It's very far away from that. And what it's trying to do, what this tells me, because it's so far down here, is that look at the volume structure here. I'm looking at this saying, okay, where does Ethereum want to establish its next point of control? Is it going to try to come back down here and test this? See a big gap here in volume traded. I wouldn't be surprised to see ETH come back down here sometime if it wants to fill in this little area here. But if it doesn't, if it sets up a new point of control up here, then I know we go higher. And I know ETH's all-time high is like 1420. So my guess is it's starting to build here. And, just kind of with the trend. I mean, you just look at it. What does it look like? It looks like it's going higher. I'm just going to assume it's coming higher. I'm not going to try to read too much into it. But 1420 is going to be sort of the line in the sand for ETH. Let's just see right here. Kind of what it's building towards, right? It can't just come up and just keep going and break all-time highs unless it's extremely bullish. Then you don't really want that either. You don't want something to just go straight up and never stop, because then the crash is just crazy. You want it to kind of build. So this is what ETH is building. I don't know when it breaks. I don't know how it breaks, but at some point it looks like it's going to establish a new, floor. Kind of what Greg talks about. It's going to establish a point of control. That way it has a new launch pad. So this looks like it's building right here. You can kind of see the crescent here. The crescent. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but the crescendo, the height of the peak of the mountain here. It's starting to build that volume, and eventually it's going to establish a new point of control right there. That's my guess. And then at that point, that would be a sufficient launch point for them to try and push this up over all-time highs. This really needs to be above all-time highs if you're looking at ETH. Okay, so the next thing I like is this Ema Cloud. All this stuff can be found under indicators for free with TradingView. Just to have this mini, though, you got to have the upgraded version, because you can only use, I think, 5 on the free one, 5 on the basic one that you pay like $15 a month for, and then the $30 a month one you can have up to 10, which is, if you have more than 10 indicators, it's probably too many. But the next one I love is the previous month, previous quarter, previous week open close, and previous day open close. I don't use the previous day open close, but I love seeing the previous monthly open, the close, open close for quarterly, open close for weekly. So that's what these lines are on here. So I can see that this yellow line right here, this is my price, which I do need to change that. Sorry guys. I'm just going to mess with that real quick here. Where the heck is that? Appearance, status line, symbol, last price line. I don't need that to be. I'm just going to make it purple for now, because everything else is. I don't want multiple. I don't want the same color for multiple indicators. So anyway, so the blue you can see is going to be the previous weekly open or close. I don't really care if it's the open or close. I just know that these order flow traders and people respect previous weekly opens and closes and previous daily opens and closes, previous month open closes. You can see where it broke one of these open closes here on the monthly. That's what the yellow is. And then the quarterly. So you can see it traded around this quarterly open or close. I don't know which one it is. It doesn't matter. It's just a resistance level. It's just a pivot level, really. So I like putting that on there because it gives you some context of where you're at as far as the previous week, month, and quarter. And typically, you want to be trading when you're at the higher end of all of that. Especially the last, like right now, ETH is above the last quarterly. We know it's above the last quarterly high, whether it was the open or close. Here, the monthly is right here, and then the weekly is right here. So it's trading right above last week, right above last month, and right above last quarter, at least their opens or closes. So again, it's above the order flow pivot point. You saw it just shift there. I don't know if that's a glitch, but and it's also above last week, and that's why I think it's trying to establish. Okay, next thing is this Ema Cloud. That's just, you just type in Ema Cloud. It's just this one by Zambonian Man. Great. It's a great indicator. What I usually do is with this one is I just come in here and change it to a 1020, just to give me this little green cloud. And he usually has it set for like, you can almost use it like an Ishimoku cloud where you can set it like so far ahead. Look how it'll push that far, like 50 periods ahead, kind of like a cloud, like an Ishimoku cloud does. But I just use it for the just for the cloud, just for a 1020 cloud. Very simple. And just use it for close. I don't know why that was on HL2, but so that'll give you a nice support to kind of follow. If in this market, I think it's better to be following shorter moving averages in general, because there's so many things that are just bouncing off the tens and 20s and rocketing higher, and that are at highs, and you kind of just want to stay with those versus trying to catch things that are bouncing off the 50, the 50-day moving average, or the 200 even, like Amazon, like Nvidia, just so annoying to deal with when they're around those 50s and 200s that it's just not. I mean, unless you're just going to sell premium, trying to catch a move, it's not really worth it. So I just use it very simple, just to kind of give me an idea of what the trend looks like and if there's a support. So obviously you could have come in here and bought this and been pretty happy with that. So next thing is just basic pivot points. I just come in here and it's just this pivot point standard. I just like having those as kind of just an idea to tell me the range that we're looking at here. I mean, we can already see that the resistance 5, it's trading up in the R3, R4 zone here from the pivot, which was way down here where that point of control is. So that's another thing too. You can start seeing a confluence of support right here, where there's a point of control, there's a pivot, which is huge, and then you got a monthly. That yellow line is a monthly open or close. I don't know which. Either way, it's going to be a support. And then you've got another weekly support here, right where all that volume is. So if you are paying attention to this and you're looking at it, you can see if it comes down to this area, it's likely going to bounce. If you ever get a flush or something like that on a daily where it drops, I mean, this is a great area to buy if you are long. You even have a quarterly support level here, and then you've got more pivot levels here. So, I mean, this just kind of tells you the bullishness that's happening here, is that it's trading above all of that right now, and it's still going higher. I mean, it's come back a little bit here today, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, another thing I like to use, so let's just shut all that down, but another thing I like to use, it depends on what you're trading, but if I'm trading crypto here, I like to use this relative strength line, which you can find in here. Relative, what you got to do is relative to SPX, use that one, and then just change it to Bitcoin. You can just change it to Bitcoin, and you can see its relative strength to Bitcoin, which obviously it's correlated to. So you want to know if it's, and it's not making new highs right now, so it's still kind of weak. ETH is still kind of weak when you're talking about cryptos. Like for example, let's take Polkadot, which is ripping right now. Let's just use this as an example. Right now, it's trading on the R4 line, which is either bullish or bearish depending on how you want to look at it. I say bullish. It's trading up almost into the R5 of the pivots, and it's above the quarterly, it's above the monthly, it's above the weekly, and it's way above this 1020 cloud, and it's making new highs relative to Bitcoin. So if you were going to buy one of these coins, which would you rather buy? Would you rather buy ETH, which is not trading at new highs, versus Bitcoin? I mean, we got a line right here that's telling us we got the last high was right there. So, it's lagging. It's lagging Bitcoin. Whereas, say, Link, for example, just made a new high. So you got the last high there. So it's trading in higher highs and higher lows versus Bitcoin. So Link is very bullish right now. It's had a little bit of a pullback there, but still, I mean, Link's all-time high was like 20. So it's trying to break out, trying to bust out. So a good buy point, I'm waiting for Link. I might add some more like right here. You had the last high. You're going to have a 1020. You're going to have the middle of the Bollinger Band, and you're going to have an R2 all coming together, while all above all this other support and resistance that has been building over, basically for a long time. It's just kind of been trading in this little area here. So does it break out? I don't know. And hold? I don't know. But if it builds here and then breaks out, it's probably real. Next thing I love is VWAP, anchored VWAP. This little guy. These things are amazing. And you can use them however you want to. I like to use them at inflection points. So, for example, let's just maybe look at Polkadot, see if we can find a good place. I'll just use ETH, for example. Okay, so ETH's most recent high was right here. So what you do is you just click on this guy, click on the most recent high, and you can open it up and use as the source whatever you want to. I usually, if I'm looking for resistance for the most recent high, I just put it as the most recent high. And it's going to give you kind of a dynamic resistance line, VWAP. And I really like using these. A lot of people are using them nowadays. And so I like to use that. So my guess is here is that 1248 will probably be a resistance. It kind of was a resistance here recently. I mean, it's already pulled back well off of that, so it wasn't able to break and hold that level. And so another thing I like to use is the Stochastic Rsi, because it's combining the RSI and Stochastic together. So two very good momentum indicators. And so you just, you can obviously see this was already lined up to be a really good buy point, was right in here, just coming right off the low there. So it's still kind of trying to break out here. We'll see if it holds and keeps going. My guess is yes, it's going to eventually break this 1420 all-time high. But so this is kind of what I've been working on today. It combines a lot of different things. Combines some of Greg's elements, some of my own that I've always kind of just messed around with that I like. But I really like to cover all my bases when we're looking at getting an idea of what an instrument is doing, an asset is doing. And so you're combining some elements of order flow and volume profile. You're combining some elements of just keeping track of previous highs, whether that's big picture highs, and you're keeping track of just pivot levels, which is what order flow traders are looking at pivot levels all the time, and market makers are looking at pivot levels. You're also looking at you got the Bollinger Band middle line too, which is just a measure of it's really just a moving average. So it's nice because it's based in volatility. And then you've got relative strength, so depending on what you're trading. So I really just love this relative strength. This thing is so nice because it's going to give you, say we change it to SPY, and let's just go look at some stuff that I've been trading. Let's just look at maybe Fubo, or the freak you call this thing. Here's another example of something that's it's sort of on a downtrend because it's relative to SPY, it's not performing very well. This most recent high was over here, way up there actually. So I mean, you really don't even want to think about Fubo until it breaks this high here. This would be, I would set an alert here and just say, okay, once this breaks and holds here, I know Fubo is probably going to be heading higher if the SPY is going higher. It's just going to outperform the SPY. But it's looking like it's setting up. It stopped right on the point of control. Look at that. Point of control level, couldn't break through, bounced. And so Fubo is looking like it wants to go higher at some point. Whether it can start outperforming SPY again, I don't know. It's at a monthly resistance. It's at a weekly resistance right here. See where it stopped. And the pivot. A mid pivot, a main pivot as well. It's not even one of these R1s or S1s. So putting it all together to give you an idea of what is the strongest, most bullish assets out there. Right now, I'm really loving this Polkadot just because there's no overhead at all. So all these other resistances are all way down here. It's really outperforming. This is still SPY, but it's obviously outperforming SPY. And Bitcoin, this is where you'd want to have your money, at least if you can move it there. For some reason, on some of these charts, the volume profile doesn't actually show, but I'd be looking at Polkadot right now on pullbacks, or if you're looking at the stochastic, waiting for it to come down here and set across and go up. But yeah, very interesting. Let me know what you think about this, guys. I know I promised some of you I'd do the quant, but I started putting it together, and I just really could not figure out how to get the tick chart working, and then I found out you can't actually do it. So forget about the quant for now, at least with TradingView. I will definitely do another video showing you some intraday styles, and maybe we can put together something here that includes some of Greg's elements for the intraday type stuff, for the scalping and things like that. So anyways, thanks a lot. Leave a like, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Tell me what you think. Bye.